Oops. Okay, let's get this show on the road. I'll just glue my pocket together. Nothing surprises me. Alright, so let's see how this is looking. Wow, 7 people watching. Hey everyone. Hello Sky Quake Warrior, UK Sea Fishing with Big Dan, Ross Leake, Agent Cal Gibbs, and Gavin. How are you, mate? Welcome everyone. Let me just check the volume's working. UK Sea Fishing with Big Dan, Ross Leake, Agent Cal. It is working. Welcome everyone. Thank you very much for coming in so early. Look, I'd really like to thank everyone for their support. We're now partnered on YouTube. I'm just waiting for all the sort of YouTube partner stuff to come through. Okay. Yeah, I hear you, Cal. I feel a bit sorry for that. But look, welcome. So, once again, thanks for the support. What we're going to do today, okay, is Martin SUK, how are you, mate? And look, I'm really impressed with the good nature of all the YouTube fishing community. Since I got introduced to UK Sea Fishing with Big Dan, and we've met good people like, you know, Skyquake, Martin, Dan, you know, Richard Leo, etc., Inglorious Fishing, and also the people that have come across from the old platform, which is a bit like Harry Potter, which shall not be named. Okay, so what we're going to start doing, is we're going to start doing our instructional videos. Okay, me personally, I'm a big fan of Schneiderline. Right now, this is the Schneider Super Smooth Braid. Now look, from my understanding, okay, with braid there's 2 types. You've got the Spectra, which is your spider wire and those associated types of braids, okay, and then you have the Dyneema, which is your old Berkeley Firelight and that sort of stuff, okay. Cal Gibbs, welcome, mate. And this is actually made in America, which is of great interest as well. All right, because you very rarely find stuff that's made in the States that's affordable. And I mean, we have like platypus braid in Australia. I haven't used that to comment yet, but we will do eventually, okay? So what we're going to be doing is, I went out, hey there, Sharksmith Angling. And look, Sharksmith Angling is another great member of the YouTube fishing community, okay? And look, it's all greatly appreciated. So what we did is we went out and bought a 12,000C Baitrunner, okay? So, these are a beautiful smooth reel. This is going to be matched up with that new Shimano rod that we bought, that we've been using, the 9-footer and that sort of stuff. Now, that must be coming off. That's a sticker, I think. Let's get that right. Hey, alrighty. So, what we've got here is we have the Shimano Baitrunner 12,000. Oh, they are. Oh. Whoops. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tighten this up so we can put the braid on it. That's better. The best Shimanos were the old 35, 45 and 6500 series. They were great, the old square back. Gareth Scully, how are you, mate? Welcome to the stream. Now, why isn't this on? Let's have a look. That's a bit better. Now, for those of you that don't know, Baitrunner reels were the first reels that were invented that had two drags on the one reel. So what we have is we have a front drag and a rear drag on the reels, okay? And Gareth, welcome, mate. We had a very funny saying in the tackle trade. We said that Baitrunner reels were put together with Jesus clips. So what that means is when you try and take them apart, if you don't know what you're doing, they have that much working mechanisms inside of them. One usually flicks out and you go, Jesus, where did that go? Okay, so if you have a look here, see how this drag is fairly tight, okay? Alrighty, it's hardly coming off. So if I hit the Baitrunner, what that does is that frees the spool up, okay? And then the spool is controlled by this rear drag here. I can tighten it or loosen it, right? And then what you do is, for example, snapper in Australia, which are the only fish that I can really comment on, they can take the bait and swim off with it, right? You turn the handle, right, or flick the lever, and the top drag engages. Oh, Inglorious Fishing, I found out that was YouTube, okay? Cartoon Head, hello mate. I actually had one of my own comments that I was trying to put in get censored. It said show or don't show. So Inglorious Fishing, welcome. And look mate, I just thanked everyone on the YouTube community for being so awesome. Please stay humble, because I've come across from a pretty toxic platform. And I mean, on the other platform, you know, we had a $70,000 boat sponsorship for 200 hours or a year. And, you know, hopefully we get back to that stage. And, I mean, look, and the funny thing is, you're none the wiser, are you? I mean, on the previous platform, we had over 30,000 followers and we had over 4 million views in 3 years. And then I made a decision to go to YouTube, and you guys are great. And, you know, we have more clout with 1,660 subscribers on YouTube than I did on the old platform. Okay, I was on Twitch, Inglorious Fishing. Okay, so my old, and it wasn't the same name as this, it was a different name. Okay, so yeah, I'll send me an email, mate, and I'll show you. So yeah, look, what we'll do is let's concentrate on what we're doing at the moment. So with this reel, if we have a look at this, right, you've got to remember that braid, okay, Jimbo. Oh, it is, Gavin, just a total waste of space, mate. But hey, it is what it is, okay? So, 300 yards of this 30-pound Schneider super smooth braid, right, is only, tell me about it, Cartoon Head, is only 0.31 millimeters in diameter. So that's equivalent to about 8 or 10 pound line. So what happens with this is we have issues, okay? Ideally what you want to do is you want to get 2 reels or another spool. You want to wind the braid on first, then join your braid to your monofilament, okay? And then what you do is you then start from the monofilament and wind it back onto your spool, okay? We don't have that luxury in here, as I mean, Shimano Baitrunner reels are fairly unique in their design. The good thing about this reel, long story, Inglorious Fishing, I left that in June. So yeah, it's not as it seems, mate. I won't get into it on here. We'll just concentrate on the content with all due respect. All right, so whenever I put braid onto reels, okay, it is a bit of a guessing game, all right? Now, with this, for example, oh, it is cartoon head. I mean, look at this. That's going to have to wear in, look. Okay. The other thing is too, when you're fishing, see this here? When you cast, if you do that by hand, that will save you quite a lot of grief on your fishing, because a lot of the companies want you to turn the handle to click the bail arm over. I just do it manually, and it saves the bail arm clip in here and in here, okay? So what we'll do is, I'm going to use 20-pound Snyder. Now this 20-pound Snyder is 0.45 of a millimetre. This is 0.31 of a millimetre. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to try and get this fairly close, okay? My main concern with the 30-pound monofilament is that the join would be too bulky, and if you do end up with a really good fish that takes a lot of line out, what will happen is you may well cause fatigue in the braid. Braid doesn't have anywhere nearly as good abrasion resistance as monofilament. That's why I always put shock leaders on my mono. Okay, now the other thing is too, today what we're going to do is we're probably going to cheat a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to use a little bit of super glue when I do my knot. Okay, when you do your joins, if you use super glue, you cannot claim any records. We don't go for records anyway because we let everything go, right? And a lot of your larger fish that you catch on various fish species are usually female anyway. Barramundiy's a classic example in Australia. They start off male, then they go female once they hit about 75 to 80 centimetres. So what I'm going to do now is, the easiest way to join the braid I find, okay, is what we do, obviously just put this on a rod, okay. You've got to try and put this on, you've just got to try and put this on under a fair amount of tension, okay. I mean, the other thing is too, when you've got spinning reels like this, or fixed spool reels, or egg beaters as we call them in Australia, going to a shop and getting him to put it on with a machine is not going to do you any favours. A lot of those line winding machines in shops are only designed for overheads, okay, or multiplier reels as they're called in Europe. And what will happen is you'll have a beautiful even lay of line on here, but once you start fishing with it and you get a fish that takes it out, you'll actually have more line on the spool than what the spool is designed to carry. Oops, because if you look at this, this will go up and down, see? So it has an oscillation gear in here. So what it'll do is it'll go up and peak and then drop and peak, okay? And that cannot be replicated by a line winding. No, you don't do the hot water thing at all, cartoon head. It's an absolute myth, right? It's just an absolute myth. I have lost a few good fish using the hot water thing, okay? So what we're going to do is this. Let's just plonk this down here. I want to try and keep this reel fairly clean, i.e. I don't want to scratch it, okay? And as per usual in Australia, the mosquitoes are quite friendly. So, oh, that's exactly right, cartoon head. The hot water stuff is just rubbish. All right, so what we're going to do is I'm just going to put this down on here. Watch out, Mr. Mosquito or Mrs. Mosquito, whichever it is. Now, right, so in actual fact, right, if a fish ever gets your line taken out on the reel to the point that you get to the last knot, you're probably going to be stuffed anyway, right? So what I do is I just use a really simple knot known as a centaur knot. So it's a knot that you can form and shape and then grip down on your line. So it's once, twice, 3 times like that. You just form 3 little circles. This is a really good knot for joining lines as well. You can join quite different diameters of line together with this, okay, especially out in the boat. So 3 times around, back through here. Okay, knots formed. We're just going to cut that with the scissors. Right, that's good. Bring that back through here. Yep, and I've scratched it already because that's how I roll. Right. And what you want to try and do too is when you first put the knot on, or the line on the reel. Oh, thank you very, very much, Extreme. That's greatly appreciated, mate. Thank you very, very much. Okay. So, what we have now, okay, is we have that on there, and unfortunately because unfortunately because I can't sort of guess it or measure it, sorry, I have to guess how much we're going to put on. So this is 0.31 of a millimetre. This can be used for 16-pound line. Look, I'm thinking that we're probably not going to have to do too much at all. Right, what I'm going to do is just put a nice little basic backing on there. Right, and that should be pretty good to about there. I did read the measurements in terms of like diameter to amount of line that you can put on a reel, right, for this reel. So what you want to do too is you want to get it just to the edge of that lip there. Okay, so what we're going to do now is, let's have a look. Yeah, just a little bit more. When I was in the tackle trade, we did heaps of these, right? So after a while, you get to know roughly, you know, how far it's meant to be. Now I'm going to put a big shock leader on this, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut that there, and then we're going to wind it down. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to get my camera tripod out. And what this is going to do, this is going to give me a solid base that I can do my Bimini with. Okay, so let me just get this off. Where's the loop? Oh, here it is. Okay, so this is a Spectra braid. Okay, so this has a very, very smooth coating. Alrighty, and a lot of people say that Dyneema, which is your fire line and that sort of stuff, is a lot more like a wire than this. One thing you've got to be very careful when you're using your Spectra braids, okay? And look, thank you very, very much to the 20 people that are watching. It's greatly appreciated. And look, if you're new to the stream, please subscribe for free, okay? And also click that like icon, and what that'll do, no, that's all right, Jimbo, and I'm glad that you were using a fishing reference there, mate, but we won't go into that. All right, now, what I'm going to do is, with your Bimini Twist, I always do like a Bimini braid join. Are you really? What flavoured cookies, Skyquake Warrior? 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can usually tell if someone's not confident at doing a Bimini Twist, right? What they'll do is they'll do about 10 loops. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 40. Okay. Yes, Jimbo, but you know, in Australia, a lot of people make those cookies that are made from those secret Lebanese hallucinogenic non-flowering tomatoes, which is a bit of a shame, but anyway. Rightio. So, what I've done now, okay, is I've basically formed my loop, and I've just spread the loop. So with this, what we're going to do, okay, is I'm going to show you how to do a Bimini. So with a Bimini Twist, I don't know who invented it. What I'm going to do here is I'm just going to grab my line fairly close to where it's joined, and what I want to do, right, is I want to form tension here so this beds in on itself. So the easiest way to do it, right, is grab the line with your left hand on the tag end, because you got your main line, your tag end, and then what you can do is here, right? So you grab, if you're right-handed, okay, you grab the tag end with your right hand, and you have your main line in your left hand. Hello, Dan. How are you, bud? Welcome to the stream. And then what we do is we just press back on that knot, and what'll happen is the little tag end will start spinning around all the twists that you made in your line. And then what you do is you just gently coax it down, and what that does is that allows itself to wrap around the line to the point where we get to the V in the 2 loops, right? Then what you do is you clamp it down, okay, reach through with your tag end. I've done it right, because usually when you live stream you do everything wrong, right? And then what we'll do is, right, all right, Skyquake, I'll check that out later. So what I've done is I've just done a half hitch in here. So that means I've half hitched the right hand loop, or the right hand V where it joins the line. And then what I've done here, okay, I'm going to bring that in here like this, right? And then do the other half hitch like that. And now what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to use the middle part of the tripod here. What I want to do is I just want to do a couple of half hitches around the line. I'll show you in a, I'll get some, I've got some 130 pound Dacron in there. I'm going to get that out and show you with the 130 pound Dacron, okay? I'll show you how to do that. And then what we'll do is we'll zoom in, because you won't be able to see it anyway, Sharksmith angling. So I'll do another one. I'm going to do a bonus little segment on how to do a Bimini twist, right? So I'll show you that. The 130 pound is much easier to see and much easier to work with, okay? So I've just done a couple of half hitches there, and what I've done now is I've basically closed off both the loops. And then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do another one. Now you've got to be careful, because when you work with braid, okay, braid has no stretch in it, unlike mono. So it's a totally different beast to work with, okay, right? And then what we will do, right, is this. We're just going to bring this through. So, you know, sometimes not only do you feel like you're tying the braid in knots, but you're also tying yourself in knots. Okay, and you don't want the knots to form, don't do that, right, without, you've got to want it to form in front of the knot, okay? Thank you very, very much, Cartoon Head. Thank you very much for giving up your time to come in, mate. There we go. So what I've done now is, right, I've basically joined the lines, or the same line, and formed a bimini, right? I'm just going to cut that, okay? And then what I'm going to do, because I've got a feeling about this reel, this is going to match the 9'6" rod perfectly, okay? Thanks, Jimbo. Right, I'm just going to dollop that in there. So that's what we call insurance, okay? So that's just a bit of insurance on the braid. Alrighty, now if you did catch a world record and you went to claim it, you wouldn't be able to claim it because you've used the super glue on your bimini, but I'd just be happy to catch a fish, let alone a record, you know. Alright, now what I'm going to do here, Ronnie Gibson, how are you, mate? Welcome to the stream. Rightio, so what we're going to do is this. You get your Bimini twist that you formed and you make both loops the same length, right? You cross that over your monofilament, right? Dan, thank you very, very much, mate. I didn't even know that they were available yet. How did you do that? Thank you very, very much. Wow, thanks, mate. That's the super chat, isn't it? Wow, okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay. And then what you do is you put that back through the loop. Ronnie, how are you, mate? And then what we do is, right, we just bring that down here, gently work that through there. Okay, now this will cause a bit of twist. Mate, if you saw two cats on a roof having a good time, they would sound better than me singing, mate. No worries, Ron. We're going to do some knots in a minute. So what I've done is I've got a beautiful little join here now. Right, that's locked in, lovely. Right, we haven't twisted too much out there. T done, how are you, mate? Oh, mate, I'm serious. When I was at school doing all the tests with the high aptitude kids, I was hopeless at music. I couldn't recognise notes, couldn't recognise anything, and I got hammered for it. Oh, well, Cal, stick around, it gets worse. And then what we're going to do is, there we go. I'm just going to do a couple of half hitches, right? And what I've got is I've got that join now, right? I'll show you how to do it with the 130 pound. Yeah, that's an image we definitely don't need, Cal. Right. You got to remember too, with these Samsung Galaxy phones, the lenses on the cameras are so good. Okay. It's actually quite dark in here from the fact that it's night, right? But because the cameras are so good with their lenses, right, just a little bit of insurance there, lovely. Clean that out. Right. And then now I can trim that tag in properly. Probably would help if I could see it. Yeah, there we go. And what we've got is that, well and truly set now. I'll just give that a little bit more insurance. This is the only way to get an absolute 100% braking strain on this join. Okay. Don't tell me to run out. Get in there, come on. There it is. Now you've got to remember, when you're using super glue on monofilament, right, it gives off heat, okay? So we're going to put the braid in there, right? Then we're just going to join this in here. Yes, I'm not the sort of person that studies for a blood test, Ronnie, if that's any consideration. Right, so now with this, I've just winged this. I've guessed how much braid we're going to be able to put on there. And one thing about Spectra in comparison to the old Dyneema is it gets very hot very quickly. So you've got to have really good guides, right, to get all the, that's actually on quite tight. Wow, I think we might have a bit much here, but that's okay. Ideally you want to get the spool spinning. Whoops. Yeah, that's a good idea, Jim. Take the monofilament out. I don't think I put enough on, fam. This is the streaming curse. Let's have a look. No, that's about right, I think. Let's get it on there. We're nearly there, actually. If I can get to within 5 millimeters of the edge of that spool, we'll be laughing, because I've got to leave enough room for a shock leader, you know. And what I'll do, Shark Smith angling, right? That's right, Ron. So, you know, but the thing is, right, that first 5 millimeters of space on your spool virtually determines how long your cast is going to be. Okay, and if you don't have it filled right to the edge, you'll lose 30 to 40% of your cast, you know. So let's just get this up there like that. And then obviously what we're doing is we're getting into the bigger part of the spool. So around the stem and that sort of stuff, what it'll do, okay, is it'll fill up pretty quickly, but when it gets to here, that's when we really start getting a lot of line onto the reel. So we're actually pretty well spot on, fam. Right, I'm just going to give my fingers a rest there for a second. We're actually going to be spot on here, because you got to remember, like I said, the other thing is too, you know, you've got to get it as close to the edge as possible, and where you have the edge of the spool, okay, that's where you're going to have the most of your line. It's a bit like a dam or a funnel. If it's shaped like a V, all your water's in the top third of it, you know. So let's get this on here. And the good thing about the pink braid, yeah, that's only got about 2 or 3 millimeters left, so we got it perfect, famo. Right. Right, now the good thing about this is I can use, no actually, alright, so anybody would think I actually knew what I was doing with braid, fam. That's perfect. Look, you can't really beat that, can you? That's actually absolutely perfect. By the time we get that out through the 9'6" Shimano rod, it'll have most of it out. Okay, still got it at the ripe old age, you know. So yeah, I think when I was in the tackle trade, I probably would have put line and braid on I don't know how many hundreds of reels. The more you do it, the more you just seem to get it. If I had have tried to use 30-pound braid, I probably would have stitched myself up there, but I'm glad we used the 20. So what I'm going to do now is I will bring this camera in closer, right, and I'll show you how to join the braid as if you're watching it here sitting across from me at the table. Now the other thing is too, right, with the streaming, we're going to be trying to have as interactive stream as possible. Okay, so as I said to you, I've invested back into the stream, okay, to the point now that when they bring out 4,000, yeah, I'm just about to shark smith angling. I'm just about to, I'll show you how we do that, okay? So we want to try and make this as interactive a stream as possible for the people watching, right? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to redo the braid for you, but I'm going to do a zoom in here, okay? So we'll just leave the box there, right? And I want to be able to zoom into the box, so just give me a second, right? Let's get this right. And this is the power of having, you know, good equipment, fam. Samsungs are brilliant. All right, so that's good in there. That's good in there. Okay, I'm going to show you how to join that all now. Great. Rightio. Oops. So bumps the table. Awesome. All right, fam. So what we'll do now is I'm going to show you, right, how to join the braid, right, to your reel. So we've got the right focus area here. So let's crack on with it, okay? So what we've done is we've managed to get our braid to lay perfectly onto the reel, right? Now the other thing is too, breast cancer awareness is important, and that's another reason why I bought the Braid as well, with the pink colour. All right, so what we've got now you've got to remember, it's really important to get your knots done correctly, and left-handers tie knots differently to right-handers, okay? So what we've got here is we've got the 30-pound Schneider super smooth braid in the pink, right? As I said, what we're going to do now is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. Now see how I've wound all of this around itself 35 times, right? So what this does, as you can see, it's caused tension through here, right? Not as much tension as a Leeds Man United game, but more about that later. No, I'm kidding. Right, so what we want to do now is we want to be able to basically use the tension in the wraps we've made around the line so that we can wind this tag end. Remember, the tag end is always the shorter piece of line when you do knots here, okay? And that's your main line, all right? If I was a left-hander, I'd be doing it a different way. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to bring this here like this, okay? Let me just get that right, like so. Okay, and what I'll do is I'm just going to chuck this under the tripod. Tripods are really good for doing knots, especially Bimini's, fam. And what I'll do is I'll give you a bird's eye view of what we're going to be doing here. Right. So I just need to make this a bit wider. Am I going to be able to though? We should be able to. I've got the tag in there, and look, it'll unravel. I'll show you. Right, remember, this is braid. If you're trying to do this with monofilament, right, it'd be a totally different beast. Monofilament's a totally different beast to braid, okay? So what I've done here is, I'll just bring that in here. It's the easiest way to do this, right, is to obviously have people holding onto the line for you, but when you're out in the field, I just put it around the knee or whatever. So that's the loop that we formed there, okay? And what I've done now is I've got my tag end. Now remember, I'm right-handed, so I want my tag end, okay, in my right hand. Right, and then what I'm going to do is, through here, I'm going to pinch this fairly close to the tag, but because I have a small loop, right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this tag end at about, I would say, I don't know, if that's, 0, I'd probably say about 60 degrees. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use the tension that we formed there as I get it to start spinning around these loops that we formed, okay? So there we go. So that's going to start spinning around the loops as I just slowly push that back. You want to get these as close together as possible, right? Like so. Okay, you don't want it to bed back over itself. So let's just, the old hand went a bit funny there. Right, there we go. So what we do now is this. Once we hit that first loop on the right, okay, we half hitch it in here. So see how that's held the knot together? Right, then what we do is we bring it in here like so. Right, we do another half hitch on the opposite loop, right, like that. So what we've done there effectively is we've locked the knot in and we still have the tag end out, okay? Now what we're going to do is, I'm just going to use the middle part on this. We've locked in both sides of the loop, brought that back in there. So what we have now, right, is we have these fairly close together. So what we do here, right, is once we can do a half hitch. I prefer to do triple hitches with Braid. So with a triple hitch, all I've done is I've formed the loop, right? I've wound the line back through itself 3 times, right? Now, I want the knot to form on the opposite end of where I've just done this knot, Okay. Right. And what I've done now is I've just done a little triple hitch. And what that does is that locks the knot in, see? Okay. Then what we do here is, I'm just going to do what I call the insurance knot. Okay. Just going to do another double hitch, right, like that. And see how I'm teasing the knot away from where it's finished, right? And then that's done there. Okay, I'll just put this back on here. Sorry about that, folks. Okay, so what that means is we have the knot well and truly locked in there, okay? Now, that's not going to be big enough to cause a problem to go through your guides and that sort of stuff. And as you can see with this, I don't have this too far apart. I've got it on just a little part here of this tripod in the middle, okay? So what we have now, right, is we have a beautiful bimini that's been formed. I'm just going to take all the twist out of it. Now remember, when you're doing a bimini with monofilament, because the monofilament has stretch, it's a totally different beast and it can be quite painful, right? So if you're in a bad frame of mind, don't try and do biminis with monofilament because you'll end up probably having a Mr. Bean moment, if you know what I mean. Right, so we just cut that there. Right, so what I want to do now, okay, is boom, bring that in. We're going to use a bit of insurance with the glue. Like I said, we don't go for records on our channel because we just catch and release mainly anyway. Come on. So this is just a little bit of, probably not a good idea to do this. Okay, this is just cheap, or not so cheap super glue. Clean the nozzle, right? And what we do now is there, okay? So that's well and truly set in, okay? Beautiful. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to join this to monofilament, right? And when I join this to monofilament, I'm going to do it with what we call the Bimini braid join, okay? Now, I think I'm just going to use 20 pound, actually no, I'll use 30 pound, okay? Because we are going to be going for larger fish with this reel and this rod setup. When the Australian salmon are in, which incidentally is not a salmon, right? It's more of a saltwater perch. We're going to have a fair bit of fun. And like I said, we will be using this reel out in the boat or the kayak. We're going to start doing some offshore kayak streams soon too, once I can get that organised and get my outboard going on it, right? So, what we have here, okay, is this is the Bimini Twist with the braid. Now what I've done here is, see, if you've got two uneven lengths, right on here, if you've got two uneven lengths like that, what you do, just grab it from where you've wrapped it around the main line itself, right? Wind it down and you make the loop both bits the same length, okay? So, then what we do, right, is, now remember I'm right-handed, so you get the monofilament and the braid, right, once. Give yourself a lot of monofilament to work with, okay? Don't be shy to give yourself a lot of monofilament to work with. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so what I've done is I've wrapped this braid around the monofilament 10 times. I'm just going to open this loop up, right? And then what we do is we just pull the monofilament through so that we make the braid roughly the same length. Right, now see how that's like clamping in on itself? Just a little bit of spittle there. Now I've left a nice long sort of length of mono. Now that's just formed and wrapped around, right? And what happens is, boom, rightio, that's locked in. So what we have here, okay, is we have our join from our braid Bimini there. it's formed a really nice knot around the braid with the mono. Now, thank you, Jackson. Thank you very much for giving up your time to come in, mate. Hope you have a better week this week, mate. So what we've got there is we've got that really nice knot. Now, the only problem is, right, with this, that will slip if you don't do what I call the insurance knot. Right, so once again, we'll just get the loop once, whoops, whoops, once, twice, 3 times through there. Right, and see how I'm just teasing the loop? Don't ever try and rush your knots, because if you rush your knots, especially with monofilament, what will happen is you will create friction. Now, friction is a no-no with monofilament, because friction will cause fatigue on your mono, right? And then when it causes fatigue, it eventually will lead to failure. You'll have the fish of a lifetime on, and then you'll lose it, okay? So what we have now is we have a little triple hitch, as we call it, like so, right? That's the insurance knot, okay? A lot of people, when they do these knots, in the old days would just use a bit of super glue, but that sort of defeats the purpose of knots. But with some of the terrain that we're going to be fishing with this, it's going to be a good idea, okay? So, there we go. Now what I'm going to do is, because I've a little bit of super glue, like I said, you know, you've got to be careful if you try and claim a record, because any means of, you know, supporting your line so that it doesn't break at its breaking strain, right, you will, you know, have headaches. So, what we'll do now is we'll just get that there, boom, and what we have is a beautiful join from the monofilament to the braid with a Bimini Twist, okay, and that will sing through your guides without any resistance whatsoever, okay. So what I'll do is I'll just show you a little close-up of the knot, all right, for your own reference. Now before we do that though, what I want to do is, I've got nearly a 10-foot fishing rod, right, so I want to have about 20 feet of shock leader, which I'm just going to do there, boom, right, and we ended up quite neatly out of that. So I'll just show you this knot, okay, and what I'll do is I'll leave the silhouette of the box here so you've got something to compare it to. Now what did that go under? How did that get under there? Right, so this is the knot that we just did live on stream, famo. Yeah, this is what I mean about monofilament and braid being different beasts, okay? So, oops. Yeah, there you go. Oh, that's the reel, okay. So, see that there? That's what we've done. That's your Bimini, and that's your little braid join in there, see? Right, it's come up pretty well. Whoops, is that going to focus or not? Let's just make sure that focuses. Yeah, there we are. See the little join that's there? Okay, we'll just drop that down so you can see that. I'll just wait till it comes up on the laptop. Come on, there we are. That's a bit better. See the beautiful knot that's been formed to join the braid to the monofilament? Okay. And, you know, nice and neat. So let's just open this up again. Like that. Beautiful. Now, I've got to be really careful because I've got all this braid and monofilament on the floor. Okay. So, what that does is that enables us to now, oh, it's fallen off. That's not good. Oh, it's never good. Right, I've just got to be very careful here. Okay, and then I'll show you the the leftover parts of it. Am I going back through there, am I? All right, there we go. So now what I'll do is I'm just gonna wind this onto the reel without burning my fingers off. Hey, don't be cheeky. As you can see, monofilament gets very, very jealous of braid, as braid usually gets all the attention. Okay. All right. Whoops. Yeah, see, braid is much less stretchy than monofilament. All right, we'll take that off there now. So that's all done. And what we'll do is we'll just wind this around here, because that's exactly why monofilament causes twist too, because if you don't have it on properly, please tell me that you've got a little, yep. So I'm just going to bring that in here. It helps if I can see with my old eyes. There we go. All right, so what we have there is, I think that's not a bad effort. Okay, what do you think? Give me a mark out of 10 for that, but what we've done, you've got to remember we wound that on. So what we've done here, okay, I'll make sure that you can see it. Right, we've managed to wind the braid on, pretty well spot on, I think. And then we've managed to wind on about 20 feet of shock leader, which is monofilament. You want that to destroy. So basically what you want to do is you want your monofilament to be destroyed by fish and reef and structure, not your braid, because braid's way too expensive. You know, every 100 metres is usually $30. So 100 metres of monofilament is less than 1/3 of that, okay? Right. Thank you, Martin. Okay, so there you go. All right, pretty happy with that. And I mean, we just did that off the cuff, you know? So, yeah, there we go, fam. So I'm hoping that that is beneficial to everyone that's watching the stream. And what we'll do over time is we'll do a lot more instructional stuff like this. We're going to be doing a lot of videos, and remember, with videos and that sort of stuff, this is purely my opinion, okay? If you know better, please feel free to share it with us, alrighty? And yeah, we've just basically done this. T Dunn, how are you, mate? We've just basically done this to you know, show people how to do it. And this is how I do all my reels, whether it's the little 2000s, 3000s, hey Sharksmith, you know, the 4000s, and this is a 12,000 Baitrunner. I mean, we've got the 10,500 pen there that I've done the same way. Unfortunately, yeah, I'm not going to bag the product that I use, but I did have a lot of problem with the braid. At one stage there, we spent over $300 spooling up the two pens, and was not happy with the braid because of the twist, but that could be the terminal tackle. I mean, when you buy swivels that are brass and then they go silver when the paint falls off them, you're not really going to have a good run with your twist, are you? There we are, fam. Look at that. Beautiful. Okay, got to be happy with that, don't you? So that's going to go back in the box, right, like that. And then what we're going to do is, beautiful. Ideally, if you're going to buy a reel to put braid on it, you want it to have a worm drive. Worm drives are very important, because what will happen is, right, when you turn your handle and your spool oscillates up and down, with a worm drive, as soon as it reaches its peak, it starts dropping straight away, so it lays the line a lot more evenly, right? If you don't have the worm drive, you'll go to the top of your oscillation on your spool, it'll bed in a couple of times, then it'll drop down and bed in a couple of times. So what that does is that has the line bedding in on itself. So when you cast, your line will go out, then it'll unravel, then go out, then it'll unravel and go out. When you've got the worm drive and you cast, it just goes out. And sometimes it can cost you a little bit of distance. and you don't really notice it until you try and cast long distances with the two different reels. One has the, you'll have two similar size reels. One has the worm drive, one doesn't, and the one that doesn't have the worm drive is a lot easier to cast, you know. But, I mean, you sort of notice it more over long distances, you know what I mean? Like, we get really good air time when we cast. You know, 5 or 6 seconds in the air is really good. And what that does, that reel, I got that. Look, I like to deal locally. We have a couple of well-established tackle stores in my town that I'm here in Western Australia, and I build up a rapport with the local store. This reel has a recommended retail of about $349. I picked that up for 235 Australian. So with the braid for about 70. So yeah, it's about $310 to rig this with the braid, and the backing, say another 15, because you've got to buy the whole spool, see, but you don't use the whole spool, so that's probably another 40, but I'll use this for leader. So with the rod as well, I mean, for under $500 we got a really good rod and reel that we're going to be able to use with the Baitrunner function. Okay, and the good thing about that 9'6" two-piece Shimano that I bought, I mean, the Alkanite guides, underbound and overbound, full Fuji components, which is just outstanding. That same rod, if I had bought that when I was in the tackle trade back in the 90s, would have been $1,000 to $1,500 with the same equipment. What we can buy now off the shelf is just absolutely unbelievable, fam, okay? Now, look, one thing I'm going to let you all know, okay? With Australis TV, our channel is predominantly 90% fishing, okay? So that's what we've based our sort of content on, and that was even on the old platform. But we will be doing a lot of other content. I've applied to over 150 different associations to try and do live streaming from them. I won't go into what they are because I don't want to give it away, but I promise you that what we continually try and do on this platform is we try and provide interesting and informative content that, for example, the knots and that sort of stuff, you can watch what we do here, then go off and do yourself, which is the main purpose of our stream. I mean, we've always based it on education. I've been a guide for fly fishing and other fishing for over, or no, not over, probably about 25 years, maybe nearly 30, I think. And, you know, we've always, I mean, I've done fly fishing, you know, seminars, and like I said, we've written for the book. So we base our streams on education as well as practical aspects of it. So tomorrow we will be live streaming from a sea turtle rescue unit here in Western Australia. So what happens is that's normally our weekly stream. It's probably going to be our fortnightly stream. When the holidays are on, we don't do it as much, obviously, because there's too much people. So tomorrow morning at 7:30, we'll be streaming from the Sea Turtle Rescue Unit in Western Australia. With all the storms that we've been having, we've had a lot of turtles washed up on the beaches, and people bring the turtles into this area so that they can eventually move them on to Perth. And it's very interesting. We've had a break for a while for various reasons, so we start up again tomorrow. So what is it now? It's 10 to 9. So in 10 and a half hours, we'll be doing another live stream from the Sea Turtle Rescue Unit, okay? It will probably be 11 or 11:30 UK time, so it might be a bit late for you, but it is a very informative stream. We will even have the weighing and the measuring of the turtles, and not only that. Oh, you're welcome, Ross. And look, I'll give you the overview, right? So with Australis TV, the gardening streams will probably start on the weekend because I've got to clean this up. And I'll be putting in the garden, flowers, vegetables and everything. We'll be doing some boxing, we'll be doing some powerlifting. I'm going to endeavour to do morning bike rides. I want to show you, in Australia, every year around this time when the magpie's nest, you'll be belting along on your push bike and you get swooped. So what I've done is I've got a little camera mount for the bike and I'm going to flick it around so that you can see the magpies trying to swoop me. It's actually quite funny, they never get you. And what we do over here, we get cable ties and we have them sticking out of our helmets so that we look more like a giant porcupine, okay? No, Loey, thank you for that clarification, Loey. No, Loey, what I've done is I've actually removed all gaming content from the computer. So I've uninstalled all that because, you know, I'm not a gamer, okay? I'm probably not even a gamer's bottom. And yes, so rather than stream gaming, I'm going to be doing IRL or, you know, real life stuff. And yeah, that's how we do it. So look, I'll show you everything tomorrow when we do the live stream from the Sea Turtle Rehabilitation Centre, right? And we have a lot of community events that we're going to be doing. The other thing is too, we're going to be doing a live stream at Rottnest, probably early next year when the salmon are there. I'm just writing away with references to try and what happened there? Why did Martin's message get retracted? Sorry about that, Martin. We're going to be doing a live stream at Rottnest on the weekend, okay? So what will happen there is, hey Benton, how you going, buddy? You need a license to fish a national park, which is fair enough because so many people just go there and think they own the place and it causes a lot of grief for the island. But yeah, once we get our approvals through, no, Martin, it's not, mate, but you know, we don't give our location on the thing, okay? But I'll send you a message and let you know. But that is tied in here with the centre in Perth, okay? But you'll see that tomorrow morning, mate. I'll give you the location and the name of it tomorrow. So yeah, we'll be doing a live stream from Rottnest. I've also managed to reinvest time into research, and I'm quite confident that we'll be able to stream from quite remote areas this year. I've got one spot that we'll be fishing from the beach where I have to paddle through the mouth of a river and paddle around in the ocean a little bit just to get to the spot. That'll be happening in a couple of weeks. And then what we will also be doing is we're going to get the kayak and we're probably going to be paddling, I don't know, 5 or 6 kilometres offshore, and we'll be taking out the big game fishing reel and the big game fishing rod, and we're going to see if we can catch some bottom species out in the kayak, okay? Which will work in 2 ways. It'll help me out with my fitness. We're going to take this reel with the braid and this rod and use some jigs. Okay, yeah, Brian might be a bit far, Loey, especially with Tezza the tiger shark, seeing as Tezza was actually longer than the kayak that I'll be using to go out to visit Brian. Tends to get me a bit nervous. No disrespect intended, but yeah, just one of those things really, you know. So, yeah, that's how it goes. So look, yeah, we've got a lot of content coming up. I'm going to be doing a lot of cultural stuff as well, and we want to just showcase Australia and the local area to the world. And yeah, we've got a lot of content coming up. So look, please just let everyone know about the stream. Okay, let everyone know about the content. And on top of that too, now that we're partnered, hopefully we'll be able to you know, hopefully we'll be able to sort of get noticed a little bit more through the YouTube algorithm. And I just promise you that what we'll be doing is over time we'll be continually trying to improve the content. We want to start streaming. Did you, Martin? Okay. Yeah, Rottnest is nice, mate. A lot of people think it's a floating pub, but there is a lot of stuff to see there. And what we will be doing is we will be heading to various places around the state and doing live streams from them and just showcasing these places to the world, okay? So yeah, I mean, last year we did a stream in Karratha. That was a 26-hour drive by car one way, and yeah, we took the boat right out trying to catch sailfish and that sort of stuff, and we weren't able to get any, unfortunately. Yeah, it is, Martin. Rottnest is beautiful, mate. It's you know, great part of the world. I'll show everyone a few quokkas in the wild, okay? And yeah, so look, we're going to start doing a lot more fly tying now that the summer's here. Hopefully in Australia we'll be able to do fly tying out here, and what I can do is bring the camera really close and show you all the fly tying close, okay? And yeah, we're just going to work from there. So we're going to have fly tying. I'm waiting for some components to come back from America, so we're going to do lure making. Did you really? Yeah, see, sharksmith angling, no disrespect, mate. We don't fish for sharks on this stream. In Western Australia, you're not allowed to keep sharks that are above 70 centimetres between the front of the dorsal and the rear of the anal fin. And unfortunately over here, sharksmith angling, we've got a huge contingent of shark fishers that have spawned out of the shark fishing that's, you know, on social media in the States. Tiger sharks, great whites and that sort of stuff are all protected, so Loey, all that's coming, mate. Next week we're going to be doing some fresh water, okay? And yeah, so we don't target sharks, mate. I mean, last year, I think at last count, 8 million sharks were killed for the shark fin trade. And look, mate, we had a stream last year where we caught 7 sharks in 10 minutes. And yeah, we just got really bored with it, so we shifted. A lot of people were losing their mind over the stream. But yeah, here in Australia, we have people that'll send out a live salmon and try and catch 4, 5 and 6 metre sharks. I hope this doesn't disappoint anyone, because if it does, you know, that's just what we don't do on here. And yeah, I mean, you know, great whites are protected in Australia, and on the old platform I had probably 50 messages asking me to go and catch a great white. It's not going to happen. I'd much rather look at them in the water from afar and admire them than try and stick a hook in them, but that's just me. What other people do is their business, okay? In saying that, you know, gummy sharks, which is your dog shark, we'll keep those and eat them because they're not on the endangered. Yeah, that's right, Cal. You know, not on the endangered list, and they are absolutely top fodder. So a good gummy shark like that, which is about your limit for the 70 centimetre restrictions, will keep us going in shark flake for well over, you know, a month or two, and it's very good for you. Yeah, that's right, Cal. Tell you what, if I'm out in the kayak and a shark tries to mate with my leg, I'll let it. Oh, I'll enjoy it too. Fake it the whole lot, you know. I'm not going to muck around with them. All right, famo. So look, thank you very, very much for tuning in. Okay, the freshwater content will start next week. I've got a couple of things to sort out in the capital, and then next week we're going to be doing freshwater fishing leading up to the new moon. We're going to do some more brim fishing. Our fly fishing content will start to increase. I'm going to do some live fly tying, right? And then that way, what we can do. Oh, look, thank you very much, Dan. And look, I'd really like to thank everybody that's come in from the old platform and the members of the Sharksmith Angling. A really big shark, and I know what you're saying, but after a certain amount of time, and when we were at fisheries, we tested this, the carbon dioxide builds up in their blood, and the lactic acid builds up in their muscles to the point that a lot of them will just swim off and sink and get chewed. So that's why we don't touch them. John Bear, how are you, mate? Johnny, I sent you a message on the old platform, bud, right, from Australis TV. If you could reply to that, John, I just want to ask you a couple of questions about a few things, mate, right? And then that way we can just sort of work from there. So everyone, look, stay safe, stay well, be the best person you can be every day. Hello, Valerie, welcome, mate. How you going? Now, I'm hoping Inglorious Fishing didn't get timed out again. I don't know why. Oh, yeah, well, that's right, Loey. And look, you know, when I was a volunteer fisheries officer years ago, they showed us some videos of sharks that had been caught and fought for about an hour or two, and then they let them go and kept the camera on them, and they just swam off and they started like sinking, and then they got chewed by other sharks, you know. Hey, Disco, how are you, mate? Welcome to the stream. And yeah, since then I've just never targeted them. But hey, each to their own. You know, if people want to go and catch them and do it, well, that's their business. Nothing to do with me, but it won't be on our stream, okay? And yeah, that's just a, and I'm not trying to run anyone else down. Like I said, what other people do is their business. I'm only here to stream what we know, and it's only our opinion on this stream, okay? So that's where we're at with it, okay? Pia, thanks very much for coming in, and Valerie, and look, people, keep humble on the YouTube fishing community, because you're a great bunch of people, and then once people get partnered, that's when you figure out what they really like. And I know that from first-hand experience. All right, I'll see you all tomorrow morning. And as I said, tomorrow morning, we will be live streaming from the Sea Turtle Rescue Unit down here. And I'll be showing you all the seahorses and all the little Nemos, the clownfish and that sort of stuff. I think they've still got about 25 turtles that they've rehabilitating. And it's a very, very interesting and informative stream. And the gentleman that we work with, Axel, okay, to all the English viewers, he is German, okay? So we'll just leave that, don't mention anything, all right? See you tomorrow. Thanks very much for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed the knot section where we joined the braid to the reel. And then the next time we go fishing, you'll see this reel in action. All right, thank you, Valerie. See you all tomorrow morning. I'll send out a tweet about the stream. All right, thanks, crew.